Welcome back to One Great Conversation. I spoke with Barb Dawson, Head of People and Culture here at Lauxes Grates. We covered her background in the Education Queensland sector, her passion to break the mould, and the importance of doing HR differently. Join us in this conversation. Though we only scratch the surface, we really connect over a more deeply engaged world we know to be possible. Hope you enjoy. Excited to get into this stuff because I feel really passionately about education and doing things differently. So off the first question off the run, tell us a bit more about your experience in education and why you decided to leave the field and do what you're doing now.
Okay, so I had 13 years in Education Queensland, and I was teaching 5-year-olds. So it was so rewarding. I absolutely loved it. I was particularly drawn to the children that were from troublesome households, if I can say that. You can kind of tell because they were always the ones that were reluctant to have a crack at things like writing their name or building something. And, I just loved being with them, or even just reading them a story, which is so important for young children, as we all know, but they didn't have that. So it was really nice to pull them aside and just spend that time with them.
Yeah. So
I really enjoyed that. How I came to leave is a very big, long story. But
in a nutshell.
Basically, I was given an opportunity to completely flip the script and change what I was doing. I had a taste of it part-time, and I was loving it. So it coming into the business world was very new and very different to me. But very early on in that, I was also offered an opportunity for coaching.
Oh, wow.
And it was through that coaching that I really, the love for it all deepened. And the more I learn, the more I want to learn. So I just, that keeps me hungry for more and more and more. So it's just getting better and better all the time. I cannot express how glad I am that I made that change.
Oh, that's beautiful. And talking a little bit more about education and schooling, do you feel like there are missed opportunities for greatness in the current education, schooling, higher learning sort of sectors?
100%.
You're like, where do I start?
Yeah, where do I start? Definitely there's lots missing there. Yeah. I think, again, from a very early age, children are pushed into what the governing bodies think they should be taught and what they should know. I think there needs to be more room for, teaching them self-awareness.
Yes.
Teaching them that how to discover what they're drawn to, what they might love to learn about. I also had the opportunity to do a little bit of work in special needs with special ed with special needs children, and a lot of them are, they might be into one or two things, for instance, cars or aeroplanes. So you can really get the most out of people when you talk to them in the language that they're familiar with.
So true.
So, you talk cars or aeroplanes with a certain sort of person and you'll get a lot from them. So, that's very basic. But, teaching them how to discover what they're interested in, what they're curious about, so that they can build on that. I think too many children, are pushed through the education system, then into uni and that, because mum, dad, auntie, uncle, they all either did it or they didn't.
And they want
you to do it because they didn't, so they're pushing their dreams onto their kids. So,
That's definitely something, to contend with. Like, I found it hard in my own experience. Yeah, through school, I was sort of a more creative child, but then it comes to, no, you have to do this subject, you have to do that subject. And when they say that you're not engaged, you get more in trouble than you do like, okay, well, what are you loving? What would you prefer doing? How can I help facilitate that? So I always kind of felt like I was in trouble when I wasn't engaged.
Yeah, rather than re-engaging them in what they are interested in. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Something definitely to think about. And that leads into our next question. So how do you feel that individuals could be better supported? Could you tell us a bit more about, how you would go about it when you see a child or an individual, even in the workplace, when they're not engaged? How would you go about helping them?
Mm-hmm. It's through those conversations, through the questions that you ask them, and that can be in, all the opportunities we have to connect with people, reviews, one-on-one chats with perhaps Tim or, your upline and that sort of thing. So it's just creating the opportunities to see what it is that's missing for them to enable them to re-engage. So
perfect. Yeah.
And it might not be a fit. So that might be what shows up as well. So, we can look at, it might be the role, it might be, just doesn't quite sit right with them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that comes down to, everyone being open and honest as well.
Definitely.
And this is a big one, big question. What is your mission at Lauxes Grates and globally? I know you talk about doing things differently in people and culture, but I feel like it's so much more than just that. Like, it's so much more than just a department. What do you hope to see in your vision?
Okay, so I think just ultimately doing things different is just breaking the mould, and there's still a long way to go. So breaking the mould of the typical HR department, where
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. What have I done now? And I'm going to get fired or something like that. So, really out to show that we are doing things differently, to not only show but just be that difference. I'm also keen to, like, you hear a lot of, well, it's more and more emerging. There's companies that are saying they're doing things differently as well. So I'd really love to sort of pick their brains or get amongst them and see what they're doing.
True.
Because, I'm open to doing things better anyway. So, I can always learn more from them, and I'm sure that they can learn more from what we do as well. So, that question was bigger. So
that is a lot bigger. Yeah, definitely. I felt the weight of that question when I was typing it.
When you read it, it's okay, but then when you're sort of trying to...
No, I totally understand. And I think as well, like, when you're thinking about what we do here and, what others do, I think it's so nice. Nice is not the best word, but it's so nice that we are willing to be open about how we do things, and that we are, interested to see how others are doing it, and we're willing to collaborate, and, there's nothing I dislike more than people holding things so close to their chest and they don't want to share it with the world because they think, I want this for myself and I don't want others to have it. But it's like, the world will be a better place if we're all sharing the knowledge and tools and love. And well,
you can't change the world one grade at a time if you don't share. So that's always what I think about.
True.
And I wouldn't want to hold it in anyway.
No.
It's not exclusive to us. Everyone should be doing it. So yeah.
And it gets heavy when you hold on to things.
Oh, yeah,
whatever it is that you're holding on to, just
that's
be
hard
free.
work.
Yes. Good or bad. So drawing on one of your many superpowers, I want to know where the magic lies in finding the right fit for the right role. I know that we don't just put bums in seats. So if we can share your magic, other companies can benefit from it as well. So how do you find the right person? And I know you don't rush into it.
It's a little bit tricky to explain that one. There's a lot of intuition. There's a lot of knowing. But I think not being attached to the role that you're interviewing someone for. So when I'm having whether it be the first, second or third chat, I'm always listening for those things that tell me, whether or not they're suited to the role that they're actually applying for, or any other role that we have in the business that they would be suited to. So it's not they can come in at a certain point, but that doesn't mean they can't change to something else that they're drawn to, or that we feel that they've got strength in. So it's just not being attached to that one role.
Definitely.
Open to many different things that people can do.
I feel like a lot of people can get knocked back just because they might not fit every single criteria in that one role. Like when you think about big organizations, because they probably have like keywords and AI, and it might not even be a person looking at the resume.
That's
or the
really
cover letter.
hard, because
hard.
It's selecting people for you.
Yeah.
Before you've even had a chance to speak to them. So I
feel like it takes the humanness out of it.
It definitely does, because keywords it's not all about the skills for us. So it can be tricky.
I like that we still, I don't know if that's something that we would in the future when we grow, really big, and you're running around and not able to give that personal touch to it. But I think it's the difference, giving people that chance to connect and show who they are more than just their cover letter and resume. Yeah, definitely. And last question to round out the episode. If all of your current responsibilities were taken care of, personally or professionally, or both, what would you be getting stuck into?
It's a very good question, and I did have to think about it. And I guess I'd like to do more workshops, I think, in just back to the education piece, and just hands-on with the tools that we have, that we've learnt along the way, and to help others with those tools. So,
nice.
Some of them are quite simple, but it's just needs those reminders. Like we all need reminders about certain things. So,
very cool.
Workshops.
Let's make it happen. I think that would be awesome, and you'd be so great at it with all the knowledge that you have in different fields before you've come to Lauxes, and all the many years you've spent at Lauxes as well. I think you'd be a wonderful coach.
Oh, thank you.
No worries. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, A More Deeply Engaged World We Know Possible. I'm sure that you will add a lot of value to those who see this.
Thanks, Alma.
Thanks, Barb. Bye.
Bye.